If you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd be making spiritual curiosity and spiritual meanings, signs in nature, and signs from the universe videos on YouTube, I would have laughed because I was just trying to survive. I was stuck in survival mode. I was trying to pull myself out, but I didn't know how. Before 2020, I was just a single mom. I was making $23,000 a year, and I stayed at a job for way too long. I was stuck in a toxic job, in a toxic work environment. I had completely lost my joy, my confidence. And looking back, this was several years of being in burnout mode. Not weeks, years. I was in a state of exhaustion for years. Some mornings I would just wash my hair and put it up in a wet ballerina bun. I didn't even have the energy to blow dry it. I wasn't living, I was surviving. But then in 2018, my sister and I decided to join Twitch. We were living together at the time and we figured an extra $5 a month is an extra $5 we don't have. So we gave it a shot. We started with whatever equipment we had, which wasn't a lot, and slowly upgraded as we could afford it. Looking back, Twitch gave me back my confidence, back my voice. Things I didn't even know were missing, but definitely needed. I also learned that charisma can be taught. It's not something you're just born with. It's literally a skill. And it taught me to stop apologizing for taking up space. So when the pandemic hit in 2020, my sister and I decided to go our own ways creatively. We stopped live streaming together, but I kept YouTube and started to experiment there. The world literally felt like it was falling apart. It felt apocalyptic and scary. But YouTube became a safe place for me. Being stuck at home forced me to see stuff about myself that I had been ignoring for years. I realized the biggest thing standing in my way wasn't other people, it was me. And that's not me dismissing everything I've been through, because I've been through a lot. Childhood trauma, unhealthy relationships, a divorce, plenty of reasons to react and think the way that I did. But eventually I realized the healing that I needed wasn't going to happen unless I was willing to look at myself honestly. So that's what I did. I started noticing my anxiety instead of becoming my anxiety. And baby, it had a chokehold on me. I started recognizing the stories and identities I had created for myself and the triggers that caused my reactions. I explored shadow work. I used tarot for self-care. I tried meditation. I bought crystals. I started following the moon cycles. Anything that helped me better understand myself. I was game for anything at this point. And also around this time, I met a man who I would eventually date and then go on to marry. Not to toot my own horn, but he did like to listen to everything that I was discovering. We would spend late nights discussing these things, these topics like consciousness and healing, traumas, shadow work. The more I learned about myself, I started recognizing these exact same things in his journey too. Then something else started happening. I started noticing signs everywhere. The number 5 literally followed me everywhere. And when I stopped to pay attention to that and research it and look into it, it had been following me my whole life. During my daily tarot readings for myself, the Tower card kept showing up over and over and over. I was scared. All of that, coupled with finding bird feathers every day, I would go out and I would find multiple bird feathers. I would find them at work, at home, it didn't matter. And bird feathers are a sign of protection. So I'm I've got 5s, got the Tower card, and I'm being protected. What's going on here? But that was years of fear talking. But this is where things change for the better. One day my sister and I, we were outside and she knew I loved blue jays and that they were a good luck sign for me. She's like, there are blue jay feathers everywhere, come outside. So I did, as one does. They were scattered all over our driveway. There were I think it was 11 or 12 feathers, maybe even 15. But we picked them all up and I saved them. I even took a photo of it because I was just this is crazy. I took a picture and I put it on Instagram. It was like to mark the moment because it was so crazy. 2 days later, I found out I was pregnant at the geriatric age of 37. Was it a coincidence? Maybe. But it sure felt like a sign. And I will never forget that moment, that period of time, like just the feathers. And then 2 days later, finding out I was pregnant, and I just like, oh my God, like blew my mind. I still get chills when I think about it. And then of course, like once I had the baby, life becomes chaotic in a beautiful way. But I was exhausted. I was overwhelmed. I was working a full-time job. My husband was working a full-time job, and then he had a part-time job to help pay for daycare. I mean, it was long nights, stressful, like, whew. I fully believe the universe gives you what you need when you need it. And at this point in my life, I had found a YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description below. But the name of the YouTube channel is Astral Doorway. And it literally changed my life. Astral Doorway does do a lot of discussion and mostly videos on astral projecting. The takeaway I took from it was consciousness. I wasn't trying to do like astral projecting and lucid dreaming and all that. While I think that's cool and I love hearing those stories, I was still looking for that awareness, that consciousness, how to control that. Mostly so I could like be present in the moment without being overwhelmed, without being exhausted. How can I just be happy here with my baby and not let it just overtake me? And this is like years in the making at this point of working on myself and my mental health. This wasn't like day one. But for me at this time, it did feel like I was starting completely over. A reset, a restart. I spent time consuming everything he had, like every video, just everything. I loved it. I decided to commit to fully being present. I decided to keep a journal. And when I had moments where my mind was spiraling, I was like, okay, I'm gonna journal about it. I'm gonna notice the beautiful things around me. And this is where I went from like journaling about like healing and stuff I've been through to like being present in this moment. So my journal was literally like blue sky, clouds, tree moving in the wind, birds chirping, anything that I noticed, I would sit and write it down till I like calm down. The main thing that spirituality preaches, New Age preaches, all this stuff is like meditate. And this is just my opinion. I feel like meditation is an advanced practice. It's not somewhere where you start. And I think that's why so many of us fail at it. In this beginning phase, I needed nature to actually slow down. Because when I sat down to meditate, my mind would race. But when I sat outside, I would watch the birds. I would follow the butterflies as they fluttered around. I was listening for the wind. You could hear it like just blowing through the trees. Oh, love it. I would go on walks and I would notice things. And my personal favorite at the time, being stuck inside with a newborn, you actually can just sit out the window and watch the seasons change. Nature slowed down my mind enough that meditation actually started to feel natural. And that's when everything clicked for me. This is when I started like taking photos and pictures of what I would notice and what I would come across. Not for content, but because I wanted to like remember it. So later when I got to where I was going, I could research what the meaning of it was. And somewhere along the way, Project Mellow was born. And today my life looks completely different. I still have bad days, but the idea of like being burnt out for years, that is diabolical. That doesn't even feel like me. I can't even recognize that woman anymore. Like, who was she? How did she get there? And like, I know those answers. I went from being burnt out for years, months, days, and now I can navigate that by hour. Like just because I had a bad morning doesn't mean the rest of my day has gone to waste. I'm not coming home and collapsing because I survived the day. And I will say this, this might be for another video I can make just on this topic alone. Your nervous system, when you come home and you instantly collapse into the bed or the couch and you don't do anything else, you just bed rot for the rest of the day, you're teaching your body that now you're in survival mode. The bare minimum that you did today was too much. And so every day that goes by that you do that, your nervous system is more overwhelmed. You got to quit coming home and collapsing. Do one thing that you didn't do yesterday, even for 5 minutes. I'm like to the point now where I can go to the store after work. I can go shopping. I can do all these activities after work that I used to could not even do. Once you learn that you're not your thoughts, you're not your anxiety, you're not your worries, you're not your trauma, you're not your old identities, you're just the awareness of these things. Prepare for the pivot. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to not be locked in. Just because it's how you felt yesterday doesn't mean you have to feel that way today. If you've learned, if you've grown, work on now and prepare for the future. You can pivot at any moment. I don't know who needs to hear this. If it's for you, let me know in the comments. But these realizations made me a better mom, a better wife, a better coworker, a better friend, a better daughter, a better sister, a better human being. Once you start walking this path, you start noticing there's levels of consciousness. Some people want to be in victim mode and they stay there their whole entire life, and there's nothing you can say or do. It's not your job and it's not your place to try to wake people up. That's not what Project Mellow is about at all. Project Mellow exists simply for the people that are already curious. You've already searched for the spiritual meaning of butterflies and why did it land on me? Or why did I see this blackbird or this brown moth? You've already searched for that. You're already curious. So I'm inviting you to take that next step. Life becomes a lot more magical when you start paying attention. You notice this one thing today. What will you notice tomorrow? I know for me, I'm going to still keep going outside. I'm going to still keep noticing. I'm going to still keep posting these videos. And if one tiny moment that I share helps someone else notice something beautiful in their own life, then Project Mellow is doing exactly what it needs to. This is just a little portion of my journey. And that's why the videos where it's like, these are the steps that you have a spiritual awakening. It's different for everybody. But I do believe it starts with noticing. We all have a moment where we notice, whether it's our feelings, it's nature, it's a situation, a relationship. Something brings us to this point. I'd love to hear where you are in your journey. What started your journey? Was there a moment that just really stuck with you and changed how you saw the world? Let me know in the comments.